Swaay.Health.
Welcome to the show, Amy and Carol. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I can't wait to chat with both of you. How are you both doing?
So good. Happy summer.
Yeah.
Yes, happy summer. We're having a heat wave here. It's been a couple weeks that we have been having this heat wave. So I just heard a little bit of thunder outside of my window, so I'm hoping we get a little bit of rain up here.
Yeah.
So I have you both here today because you were both recent winners of the Swaay.Health Community Member of the Year Award at our recently held Swaay.Health Awards. And I really wanted to chat with both of you to get a sense of your journey with the Swaay community and what it means to you. So one of the first questions I wanted to ask you, kind of to throw it out there, is, as these winners, if you could pick a mascot to represent this community and its spirits and values, what would it be and why?
I put a little bit of thought in this. How about you, Carol? Do you have one?
I put no thought into it. I had
Okay,
an
I'll go first.
I had an immediate response.
Oh, then what is it? Tell us.
Meerkats.
Meerkat. Oh, I like
They pop
that.
up, they sway, they're curious, they run in families or mobs, depending on what it is. They're always moving around. Totally social creatures, very, like I said, very engaging and funny. So meerkats, and they sway. So
I love
that's
it.
what
I
thought
love
it
the
was,
Swaay
meerkats.
tie-in. That's awesome. Mine was a hummingbird because
Oh,
we're constantly
yeah.
connecting and moving fast and just bringing energy in anything and everything that we do as a community.
I love that.
What's yours?
I didn't really think about that or the question, but then I thought maybe I should have an answer. And I think the one that popped into my head was a koala bear. And the only reason is because a koala bear hugs a tree. And sometimes, or not sometimes, most times when I'm with the Swaay community, I feel like it's just like a big giant hug.
Oh,
As cheesy as that sounds.
that's nice. I love that.
All good contenders. Maybe that can be a interactive session at next year's Swaay to pick the best mascot.
You can vote on it.
I love that. All right, so we kind of got the fun kind of question under our belt. I don't think I know how you both became involved in the community. I maybe know a little bit of the story, but maybe you can kind of both just give us a little synopsis of how you both got involved with the community and what is it that actually drew you in to become a part of the Swaay community.
Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, so I was actually at the very, very first Swaay, and I remember John reaching out to me, telling me what he was doing with the fitness community. It was going to be in Vegas, so he knew he had me right there. Of course, I was going to come up for it. It was off the strip, like not off the strip, but like off the strip, quite a ways, right? And it was just such a interesting start to where it started with and how it's involved. It was how it's evolved over the years. It was not a lot of people there. Most people, all the content was primarily in one room. A lot of networking and engagement and maybe more of that free-flowing kind of conversation like the unconferences that you guys do at Swaay. All the sponsors had like shared little tables like in a nook. It wasn't even the hallways, like a little nook, Brad Dodge and Scott Collins were sharing this little table together. And I thought, are you brothers? We're my brothers. But anyway, I digress there down memory lane. But it was clear, I think, right from the get-go that even from the first year, the value of the conference and that there was no place to go but up from that first year. Off strip in Las Vegas. If I'd known where it was, I might not have come up here. Don't tell John that. Might not have made it, but I did.
Better to not know, right?
Better to not know.
Yeah. That's awesome. From my standpoint, I I had heard of, I think, this group back when I worked at a hospital like 15 years ago when social media became a thing. So the HITSM, and maybe there was even an HITMC hashtag. And then I kind of like fell out of it and went and worked at a very large enterprise healthcare software company where I always joke that if I would have found the community when I worked there, I would have been like, oh, you all are so cute with all of your little problems. I have a marketing team of 180 people or whatever it is. So, HitMix slash Swaay came back into my life. Actually, it was the first conference post-COVID. So that I was working at a startup at the time, and our marketing contractor was pretty involved in it. So that's how I got introduced to it. And I feel like I just really hit the ground running and was able to really make some solid connections at the first time meetup. One of which, Rebecca Nadeau, who is how I got my current job here. So I just feel like you could just immediately sense the feeling of community within this group. And I think it was just such a special group to find and be a part of, and just so full of resources and knowledge and brains and fun and smiles and laughter and all the things. I feel like I had no idea what I was getting into, but in the best way possible.
Oh, I love that. That's so great. And I love that it's kind of two different stories as well. And I think you're right, both of you, but we've, come a long way. Even after COVID, there was a lot of ups and downs. We did one virtual during COVID, which actually we had quite a few people who kind of showed up online, and that was the days when, everybody was doing everything online. So we were seeing actually a lot of the community members, monthly or even kind of weekly, trying to do virtual hangs. Just to kind of keep the essence of the community alive. So, you're right. I think it's fun to see kind of how it has evolved from the first days, Carol, where you were in a offshoot, back alley somewhere, to recently in San Diego, where we all kind of joined together this year. Crazy times. I remember my first time, I think it was in Atlanta, and Stacy, who was, a big member of the community as well, got up and rapped Hamilton, and I was like, oh, I want to be her friend. I want to be her friend. And it's like you said, the community just takes their arms around you and embraces you, and allows you to kind of be yourself, ask those questions, and be vulnerable. So it was a great first year for me too.
That's awesome.
So you guys, both won the Swaay Community Member of the Year award this past year. I had the privilege of being able to be there and see you guys win and watch you come up on stage, which was so joyful. And, I think I cried the whole time that day. But what does winning this award mean to you both personally? And, how does it reflect in your journey here? Amy, do you want to go?
Sure. I also cried. I'm a very big emotional person. I think that winning the award was just such a delightful surprise, because I feel like as I am getting older, I just recently had a milestone birthday, turning 40. I feel like I've just really realized how important community is to me, both personally and professionally. On a local level, I'm starting to get involved with, more civic organizations, and just finding that connection to the community. And trying to create something like that here, because I'm not from here originally. So, being intentional about that. And then from a professional standpoint, I think, it's getting awarded for something that I just do naturally, which is such a lovely surprise. I think it's just proof that consistent engagement, because it's something that is innate and who you are as a person, that is seen and recognized. And, that is absolutely not why I do it and make the connections and, thrive on that type of community connection aspect. But it's just a very nice surprise to be honored and recognized, especially with somebody like Carol. I know I shared in my LinkedIn post when I had first gotten the award, but the power of connection and community. We were at Vive a couple years ago, and like my dog was dying and my grandma was in the hospital, and there was a school shooter down the street in Nashville. And I just remember feeling like so overwhelmed, and ran into Carol and like, again, started crying. And she was just there for me, like with a hug. So I feel like it was just serendipitous that we both won this. So I think
Oh,
we both won, just a full circle moment of that power of community that really blended my personal life with what was going on into the professional world, and just got chills talking about it. Just amazing people that you all bring together with Sway.
That's good. What about you, Carol?
yeah, I was clearly surprised by witness of that I had taken my blouse out of my pants after lunch, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like running going on stage trying to tuck it in and getting teary-eyed, and sharing it with Amy was that actually the best scenario for me anyway, because I think that it is about community. I do think, having been involved in community for right from the get-go, I perhaps putting the community in it for me is I don't ever see attending the event, even though we sponsor it and I have collateral and all that. I don't ever see it as like, oh, I'm going to get like, I'm going to connect with so many vendors and get so much business out of this, and advertising and sponsorships and that. I mean, it's just never, I never think like that. I think that, it is about that community, and I treat it that way, and I want to be, and hopefully I am, open. We'll share anything, you ask me any question. You don't have to do business with me. Ask me anything you want to ask. I'm glad to share anything that you want to know, that you think that I might be able to provide some support, or I don't want to say expertise, because I'm kind of a journeyman. I'm not really great at anything, but maybe I know a little bit about several different things. And I think that's what's really hit home to me, that maybe I am a true community member in the spirit of the word community. Not trying to get anything out of that. I'm trying to give back. And if I give back and I give back, things come full circle. It's the karma of life.
I love that. And, I think a lot of people feel that, probably both from both of you, but also, like you said, when you kind of join into the community and really start to participate, it is, like you said, Carol, I'm an open book. You don't have to buy from me. We don't have to we don't have to have a transactional relationship down the line, but I'm an open book, and, ask me whatever you'd like. I'm happy to share. I'm happy to tell you how I failed, how I've, succeeded. This worked, this didn't work. But, just to be really vulnerable with each other is something special.
Yeah, it really is. I feel like the vulnerability part is what makes Sway such an amazing, I mean, all the things make it, but I think talking on stage about that vulnerability and sharing the failures, because those make the successes so much more sweet. I think that professionally, it seems like all are shifting more toward being comfortable with that vulnerability. I think that ladders into the authenticity, but Sway has been, leading the charge on that, and just really putting that at the forefront. And what does John always say? Give before you get. With that mentality, I think that ladders into that as well.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think a lot of the times, maybe in years past, and I think, like you said, more people are becoming more comfortable with it, but a lot of people didn't want to show that vulnerability, or, you think of a lot of the social media tools or platforms, and, everything has to be so perfect, and, that's not real life, and being vulnerable is real life, and, failing and trying again and falling down and getting up is real life. So I love seeing the shift from, not that to, actual real life, and also putting that out there, even, on LinkedIn or in person or at a conference or up on stage. I think that's going to be a nice shift to kind of keep moving and towards that, and embracing it.
Agree.
Hopefully.
Agreed.
So we have our 2026 award nominations opening up soon. They're going to be opening up end of August, they're going to be opening up September, this fall, I should say, before I, confuse everybody. So what, in your mind, what should future nominees showcase in their upcoming nominations and their work, or what are you hoping to see recognized this year?
Yeah. Well, I know well, first of all, Amy and I, we were in the catbird seat because this was an award that you guys gave, so we didn't have to
Yes, I'm like, I don't
nominate.
even know.
I was like, oh, thank goodness. Like we didn't have to submit anything.
Yeah.
So total catbird seat. It's like the people that, here's the Oscar that probably should maybe have. But for me personally, and I'm sure we will see this, I'm hoping to see some terrific marketing campaigns where AI was, really used to create those campaigns and make them super successful. So that, there's lots of tools. Everybody's using AI to create campaigns, but like really create like this, from start to finish, all the ways AI was involved so that, others can really learn from the successes, the pitfalls too, but also the successes of a campaign using everything that we can do out there with AI.
I think for this award specifically, especially because there isn't a formal nomination process, but I think if somebody was gunning for this, I think the impact doesn't always need to be loud. It can be a steady drip of just always being helpful. So I think those who are just consistently adding value, whether that's making a connection to be like, oh, so-and-so just mentioned that, or whether it's sharing a resource that you just recently found, or just bringing those perspectives to the conversation, again, back to the vulnerability standpoint, just being genuine and authentic and paying it forward and showing up in ways that just helps move not only us as a very niche group of healthcare IT marketers forward, but really, the whole industry forward. So I think just showing up consistently and just providing value and giving back to others, I think is just some of the core things that I try to do regularly. And I think what you guys saw.
And you bring up a little question that I'd like to ask that would be kind of a curveball question, but both of you, I think in your own way, have committed and contributed to this community in multiple ways, whether it's helping us to promote something or kind of a give and take situation of we'll promote something on our podcast, and Carol, can you put it on your your radio show, or Amy, can you contribute for a quote that we need for an article, or can you come up on a panel? And Carol, can you come up and on a panel and do a workshop? So, I think as much as, you might get, stuff from the community, we love our community members and cherish everything that they, give for free out of the goodness of their heart. But I'm curious, that's kind of professionally, what, gives you life, or are you doing, personally from a community standpoint that, that makes you tick these days?
I can start. So, like I mentioned, I'm not from the town that I live in, and my husband and I chose not to have kids on purpose. And so finding that sense of community, I've been very intentional about it because I know that that is something that brings me joy and fills my cup. I feel pretty strongly about some social beliefs, and I think that has been a driving force of mine to just do what I think is right and beneficial. We're living in a very divisive world down here in the United States. And so I think just, believing in something as strongly as I do across a variety of topics, and just using that to not only find community and connect with other like-minded individuals, but then also educating my community on issues, whether local or federal or state, and just really kind of having that community be the epicenter of it. But whether that's education for me or pushing that out or whatever, but I think that community sense is really what's driving me to just, give back. And if I can, educate somebody on one thing that they didn't know before, mission accomplished. But yeah, I feel like now is the time to really find that community because of how virtual and online and busy and all the things we are. So I think it's intentionally slowing down, figuring out how to get involved or give back. And, it doesn't necessarily need to be in person or volunteering or anything like that. It's like maybe you're love a good book and are in a book club or, whatever that is. But I think just figuring out what makes you tick and brings you joy and all those things and being able to put your heart into it is something that I have just really enjoyed over the last few years.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
Well said.
Carol?
I do think sort of taking a page out of Amy's playbook again. I know I've done that in the past. This idea, not this is obviously not to talk about politics on this conversation, but how divided this country is. And I think that I too am searching for communities, and Sway is one of them, where you don't necessarily have to agree with me, and I don't necessarily have to agree with you, but you can feel safe in what you're saying, and you won't be judged, right? And I'm looking for more of that, hanging around with people and peers and colleagues who they don't have to think exactly like I think, of course, but they respect the fact that I think that way, right? And that I'm free to voice what it is that I'm thinking versus being in a situation where I go, I better not go there, and I think that there's a lot of people searching for that in this country right now. I mean, I think we all are one way or another, trying to find those groups and communities and activities. And I just feel bringing it back to Sway, I think that's the one thing I really, truly appreciate. We were all there in April in San Diego, obviously, again, politically divisive country, and people, if they did talk about it, was super respectful and an intelligent conversation. And I think that's a testament to what that community is really about, which is inclusive and never exclusive.
And I think it's like-minded people flock toward like-minded people, birds of a feather. And you guys have done such a great job of that with the Sway community, where you do feel safe and heard and respected and all that good stuff. So yeah, nailed it, Carol.
Yeah. It's like
From your page, your playbook.
Crushed it.
And it's like a non-judgmental atmosphere too, right? Where, like you said, you feel free that you can talk about how you feel, and we might not all, agree, but there is that platform or those folks there that are willing to just have a conversation, and might think a different way, and you might think one way, but you can still have a constructive conversation about things that are going on. And that's what I love, is that I definitely don't agree with everybody. I don't even agree with my husband most of the time, but we can still have a constructive conversation about things that are, that are going on, and we can critically think about both sides of the coin. And that's what I love too about this community.
Yeah. But if we want to start a politics podcast, I mean, sign me up.
He's all in.
I'm sure it'd be spicy. I am sure. So we're going to kind of wrap up here, but I wanted to talk to you both a little bit about kind of newcomers or up and coming folks that are, in the industry or coming into healthcare marketing. And for anyone who's listening, who really wants to make an impact, as both of you have in the healthcare marketing industry, what's the best advice that you have for them for, standing out or thriving or really just kind of making a mark in the space?
Go ahead, Carol. What do you think?
Well, I would first say, before you get there, do not let whoever it is that you're presenting how much it's going to cost to get you there be a barrier, because it's quote marketing, right? It shouldn't stop anybody. It's an incredible value, and it's incredible experience. And someone from your marketing team or graphic design or social team will look content, you're gonna learn a lot and bring back a lot of actionable items. So don't let that get in the way of going to Sway. And I'm going to bring it full circle to what I started with, which is be a meerkat. So recognize you've never been, but this will be your family. You're going to hang out with them. You're going to be curious. You're going to be engaging. They're very social creatures. Be social. Don't go there. It's not high school. It's not cliquish. Don't feel like, you've got to sit back and observe. Just jump in right away and get connected to as many people as you can at the conference.
I think, with anything in life that you're putting your energy into, you get out of it what you put into it. So I think that is always just something good to keep in the back of your mind with a community like Swaay. And I am a very, very relationship driven person. And I think my advice would be to build relationships from a very genuine and authentic place, but build those before you really need them. I think that the best opportunities come from people who already know and trust you. And I think even as the three of us collectively, attend conferences or, are trying to figure out what the magic way is for a CIO to buy XYZ. So much of that goes back to that trust and relationship building component. So that's definitely what I would recommend, where, just even if it's hopping on for a quick 30-minute chat without any agenda, building those conversations, connections, all that is just what I would recommend. And what brings me joy from a professional standpoint, I feel like every month I'm doing multiple networking calls, and I walk away with something from all of them. If it's just a nugget or just able to share a laugh and a story, I think all of those are critical, especially in this virtual world that we live in. So that would be my advice. Build the relationships before you need them.
That's great advice.
Lovely. Well, I am super grateful and appreciative that I've been able to build a relationship with both of you and,
I gotcha.
to know you both over, the years. And, even though we might only see each other, like we said, virtually, or even just at a few conferences throughout the year, it's the same time. It's the same thing whenever we meet up. It's like no time has passed, and you can still have such a close relationship with someone, even if it's from a distance. So I appreciate both of you, and I wanted to congratulate you both again on your award. You both, deserve it more than you know.
Thanks.
And hopefully I can see you guys actually in person in the next, couple months as we kind of make our way through the fall conference craziness as it comes upon us, quicker than we think.
Yes, it will. Well, I don't know if I speak for Carol, but I'm sure I do when I say thank you so much to you, John and Colin, for honoring us and recognizing us with this amazing surprise award. And also just for everything that you do for this community. I think, you are such leaders by example and really pave the way for all of us to take a page out of your playbook. So thanks so much for everything that you guys do.
I love it. I love just like stealing from everybody's playbook. That's what life's all about.
That's what life's all about.
It's a big playbook.
Yeah,
many pages.
Many. Yeah.
Well, thank you again, ladies, and I will see you on the road, I'm sure, in the next couple months. Thank you for being here with us today. We appreciate you.
Bye.
Thanks so much. See you guys.
Thanks, guys.